देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्य उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. We are reading from Canto 1, which is titled The Creation. What is the title? So today's discussion will be very interactive, because I really want to hear from you. The chapter 2 is called Divinity and Divine Sages, Divinity and Divine Services. And this is verse number 7. Please repeat with me. Vasudeve Bhagavati. You can see, no? Or should I make it bigger? Better? Are you able to see? Everybody is able to see? सब लोग देख सकते हैं पीछे भी. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योगः प्रयोजितः जनयत्याशु वैराग्यम् ज्ञानं च यदहैतुकम्. Once more. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योगः प्रयोजितः जनयत्याशु वैराग्यम् ज्ञानं च यदहैतुकम्. One last time. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योगः प्रयोजितः जनयत्याशु वैराग्यम् ज्ञानं च यदहैतुकम्. Would someone like to recite? Try and recite. Yes, though. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योगः प्रयोजितः जनयत्याशु वैराग्यम् अहैतुकम् ज्ञानं च यदहैतुकम्. Very good. Anyone else from Mataji's side? Mataji की तरफ से. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योगः प्रयोजितः आशु वैराग्यम् अन्यत्याशु ज्ञानम. बोलिए ज्ञानम च यदहैतुकम्. Very good. We'll see the meaning of this verse. It's a very beautiful verse. Can somebody read the Balmurugan Prabhu, please read the translation.
By rendering devotion service unto the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world.
Okay. Now let's start the discussion by the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paditanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे, निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं, यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। हरे कृष्ण। सो वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजितः जनयत्याशु वैराग्यम ज्ञानम चयद अहेतुकम। Generally, in ISKCON temples during the Sunday feast, we get together and we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Basically, we read Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, I want to ask some questions from all of you. Why should we read Srimad Bhagavatam or the books authored by Srila Prabhupada in general? What is the necessity or what is the importance of reading? We have gotten together. We could have done any other activity. We could have done a potluck. We could have eaten nicely. After that, we all could have slept for some time here. And then we could have discussed something else we could. Why do we get together and we read Prabhupada books during Sunday feast? What do you think is the importance of reading Shastra? Whoever wants to share something, please raise your hand. This is very important for the discussion today. Why do you think we should read the Shastra? Yes, please.
Ultimately, through all this, we wish to deliver ourselves from the nescience of the material world and render devotional service to Bhagavan Krishna. Now, unless we know about the background of Bhagavan Krishna, the greatness of him, the sweetness of him, about him, we will not be able to admire. And unless we are able to admire our subject of devotion and the associated and everything associated with it, we cannot render devotional service to the best of our ability. And therefore, reading is of extreme importance because it provides us that information that is.
Okay, so he wants to practice bhakti to the best of his ability, and he wants to appreciate the act of rendering devotional service to the best of his ability. So he wants to read it. Any other reason why we should read? Yes, please raise your hands. Otherwise, you will not be given a chance. Yes.
It reveals the truth.
It reveals the truth.
The truth is like whatever we are seeing is our inner thoughts, and it is a temporary, and it can take us towards service of the Lord.
Okay. So in order to understand what is the ultimate truth, Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam, in order to understand the absolute truth, we should read. Very good. Mataji's, why we should read Prabhupada books? Yes. Tell me. Any one of you? Yes, okay.
Because we get to know and we learn life lessons from it, and as Prabhuji said, to know more about absolute truth.
What about learning and after that applying? What is more important, philosophy or the application of the philosophy?
Of course, application, but then to get the application, you have to learn it.
Yeah, but what about simply coming, this is not for you but for everybody, what about simply coming in the Bhagavatam class, sitting very nicely in a well-behaved way, behaving very humbly, listening, and after that going and doing whatever you want, becoming a demon outside the class? How's that? I've heard Bhagavatam class for the last 155 years, every Sunday, but I didn't apply anything. I know everything, but I didn't apply anything. Then what's the point? So So therefore, application is also necessary, but Mataji is saying that yes, if you don't know, how you will apply. So I can see some people who are behind the chairs. There is a lot of space. If you want, you come forward. Chair people can go a little bit back because there is some audience sitting on the ground which is not able to have eye contact. So reading, yes, it is indeed very, very important. In fact, this is the difference between ISKCON and other centers. Can somebody read this? Yes, Mataji, please read this.
Brahmanas means
No, start from the title.
every temple should be educational center.
Yes.
Brahmanas means they are teachers. So every temple should be an educational center, and the Brahmanas should be educational. They should be properly educated, and they should teach others also. In this way, temple means education in spiritual life.
So Srila Prabhupada never wanted his centers or temples to be bell-ringing affairs. In many centers or temples all over India, when you go, people go, they take darshan, have bath and come back. But Srila Prabhupada never had that idea of ISKCON. I think that is the reason why we don't have a bell in our center. But we want to put a bell, yes. But yes, we don't want this temple only meant to be ringing a bell. We want people to come here and understand what is Krishna consciousness, what is God, who am I, what is my relationship with God, and that is more important. And as time will progress in Kali Yuga, people will take note that all the other temples will find it very difficult to function because people of Kali Yuga are so much materially engrossed that without being scientifically convinced about the importance of devotional service, nobody will do it. So as time will progress, we will take note, the society will take note that all the other temples where devotional service, bona fide devotional service is being done without explaining the science of devotional service, they will find it very difficult to be maintained. So ultimately, all those temples will be handed over to ISKCON. Because only ISKCON knows how to scientifically propagate it. So therefore, this is very, very important. Another point which I wanted to show was, this is how ISKCON should function. This is the reason why in every Sunday feast we read Srimad Bhagavatam. But importance of reading is this. Somebody from here can read. Aditya, please read.
Read all of the devotees connected with this Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been translated.
Point to be noted, Srila Prabhupada says all the books. He doesn't say only Bhagavad Gita. And this instruction is for whom? Only for preachers? All the devotees means the person who is cooking inside, he also? Or the person who is doing kirtan, he also? Person who is doing accounts, he also? She also? Everybody? You also? Okay. Please.
Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep and fall down from their position.
Yes.
Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure.
Yes. So we were just discussing, when we started the discussion, the fan was there, but still we were not feeling happy. And we were discussing how much more unhappy we will become if we switch off the fan. So we don't have eternal transcendental life, eternal blissful transcendental life of pleasure. We don't have it in the material world. But now we get information that there is an existence where eternal transcendental blissful life of pleasure is there. And therefore we have to do something to get it. What we have to do something? What is that something we have to do? We have to read. Read. When we read, we associate with Prabhupada. And if we don't read, then what will happen? Eat, sleep and fall down. It's a very, very strong statement Srila Prabhupada is making. There are many people who say that I am so busy, I am working for 10, 12 hours a day. After that, I come home, traveling, Bangalore traffic, this, that. I get only 1 hour. So Prabhu, this is the Yuga Dharma is to chant. So I get 1 hour. So between reading and chanting, I always give preference to, see, I am a follower of the Yuga Dharma. So I cannot read, I will only chant. Very wise decision I am making. But then, even if you do that, the urge, the vega, vacho vegam, manasaha, krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udaropastha vegam, the vegas of the senses, they are so strong that they will make you simply fall down. Anybody who is not regularly reading Srila Prabhupada's books will find it very difficult to continue. How can we continue? Only when we are convinced that happiness comes only from spiritual activities. I repeat, happiness comes only by being absorbed in spiritual life. There is no other happiness anywhere else. In order to be convinced of this point, we need to read the literature. If we don't read, then we will not be convinced. We will think that going to Thailand is happiness. That is the problem. So in order to be convinced, we have to read. So that is why in all Sunday feasts, we do Srimad Bhagavatam reading. And today's verse is a very, very nice verse. It says, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. Now, in the purport, a very, very important point has been highlighted. I'll just read a section of the purport. You have to listen to me. Sometimes, once some of my friends, they went to an institute where they teach how to be healthy. That's how I put it. It's not a spiritual institution. So there they made a yoga ladder. And they showed that the bottommost yoga ladder is Bhakti Yoga. Then higher than Bhakti is Karma, then Jnana, and then highest is Ashtanga. And we are teaching you Ashtanga Yoga. And they made a comment that those who cannot do this Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, or those who cannot do this Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, those who are good for nothing, they should do Bhakti. Emotional, sentimental people who are fit for nothing else, no tapasya they can do in life, so they should do Bhakti. That is the wrong philosophy which they were explaining. So in the purport to this Vasudeva Bhagavati verse, Srila Prabhupada says, those who consider devotional service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna to be something like material emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic power, and similar other processes of transcendental realization are recommended. According to them, bhakti or devotional service of the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform these high-grade activities. That is their statement. But this is completely wrong. What is the translation of this verse? The translation says, by rendering bhakti unto Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from this world. So what is the result of charity, austerity, penance, sacrifice and everything? What is the target? When you do these activities, charity, austerity, what are the other things? Mystic power, knowledge, sacrifice. Lakshya kya hai? Jnana and Vairagya is the lakshya. Correct? Why you are doing charity? Because I am very attached to money. So in order to be detached from this money, or in order to get more money in my next life, I am doing charity. Karma Kanda means I don't want to enjoy in this life. I will enjoy in my next life. So people of Kali Yuga who are like instant people, abhi enjoy karna hai. They are like, they are worse than Karma Kandis also, worse than Karmis also. So, the ultimate aim of all these activities is Jnana and Vairagya. But by doing bhakti, automatically this is attained. Jnana and Vairagya. So therefore, The Srila Prabhupada says the other high grade activities such as sacrifice, charity, austerity, etc. are all corollary factors of pure scientific bhakti's cult. Meaning to say that one who has done bhakti sufficiently under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, they will have all jnana and all vairagya. When we talk about jnana, what jnana are we talking about? The jnana of how to use AI tools to make very nice presentations or bar charts, or the jnana without using Excel formulas, being so many doing Excel. This is आजकल चल रहा है. So jnana here is what the jnana which we are talking about here is that jnana which is related to the nama, rupa, guna and leela of Krishna, and this jnana will make us happy. That is why this jnana is called ahaitukam. Please take note, whatever other jnana which we have accumulated over our life has some hetu, has some cause, has some motivation. What is your age, my friend? Okay, he is about 40. How many years have you studied? Something. 15 years you have studied. After that you never studied anything. You have been studying. Can we assume out of this 40 years, 30 years you have done some rigorous study? Somehow or the other. Why did you study? We are not asking what you studied. We are just asking why did you study?
I think that was the standard. I don't have an option.
He studied because he was a DBPS, do because Papa said. But why did your Papa say to study?
He studied.
Baap re. Guru Parampara hai. My father studied, so I will also study. His father studied. Did you find out whether your great grandfather studied or not? He didn't study. Your father started the parampara. Anyways, we all are studying option A for knowledge, option B for sense gratification, option C for more sense gratification, option D because Bapa is selling, so I am studying. What do you think is the answer? How many of you studied for knowledge? ज्ञान के लिए पढ़ा मैं. Really, knowledge के लिए पढ़ा मैं. So all those who are raising hands, if you were told that no matter how much you study, you will not get honey and money later on, would you have studied?
Initially, he studied because of that urge to gain knowledge, extreme urge to gain knowledge.
Initially, huh?
Yeah, initially, because we were
Maybe in kindergarten. After that, he gave up.
actually, there are many things that I still study, which have nothing to do with
Honey or money? Are you sure? You do it because you want to be happy. But that happiness is also at the mental platform. Sense gratification can be gross or subtle. Either we do gross satisfaction, gross sense gratification through dharma, artha and kama, and when after doing sufficient sense gratification at the bodily platform, when we are fully frustrated and we understand that we cannot actually gratify our senses, then we get into subtle sense gratification. To get the kick of intellectualism, to get the titillation of an idea, and when that also doesn't satisfy, then you try to become God. Srila Prabhupada says that all this is sense gratification only. The highest sense gratification is that I am going to become God in the next 40 minutes. Ultimately, it's for sense gratification. So the jnana which this verse is talking about is, this jnana is without a motivation. Even the jnanis or even the impersonalists, Mayavadis, when they are looking for jnana, they are doing it for liberation. Even their jnana has a motivation. They want it for something. उनके पीछे उनका एक motive है, एक कारण है. But this jnana, the knowledge related to the name, form, qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord is causeless, ahaituki. You are not trying to get it. You are just chanting Hare Krishna and Krishna is bestowing it upon you through the devotees, through the Shastra, through the Guru. And by getting this, you are becoming stronger and stronger and more attracted and attached to Krishna. This is real Gyan. And this really makes you happy at every moment. From the core of your heart, you can always be happy simply by knowing Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tatvata. Simply by meditating on the name, form, qualities and pastimes of Krishna, you will be so happy. And when you become very happy, you want to share it with others. So then you become very busy sharing. You go to market, why? To buy prasad, to buy grocery, so that you can make prasad. Through prasad, you will share it too with others. Whatever activity you do, you want to do it for Krishna. That is called Vairagya. Jnanam chayad ahaitukam janayatya ashu vairagyam. Now, Vairagya is a very, very great thing to attain. I'll give an example of two characters from the Vedic literature who did not do bhakti, but they were extreme examples of jnana and vairagya. Let's take the personality called Ravana. Had a lot of knowledge, but was he a devotee? So what was the value of that knowledge? It caused him so much problem throughout his life. And did he work hard to get that knowledge? Yes, really worked hard, but useless. Similarly, another example of renunciation is Vishwamitra. He is the greatest yogi, the greatest of the greatest yogis. It is said that when Vishwamitra would walk in the forest, his charisma, his charm, his effulgence was so strong, the deers, rabbits, peacocks used to get attracted to him and they used to follow him. But he was not a devotee at that point of time. So then what happened? Who came and showed her bangles? Menka came. And then she showed, this is written in the Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, that she came and literally showed her bangles. And he was hearing the sound of the anklets and the bangles, and the first thing which he saw was the bangles. Game over. Why? Because he was not a devotee. And then they suffered. So, if you become a Jnana yogi and if you make Jnana as your aim of life, Klesho dhika tarastesham. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita that this path is, a lot of trouble is there in this path. And if you become an Ashtanga yogi, read the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. After hearing it, Arjuna said, I don't want to do it only. It's not possible also and I don't want to do it also. But without getting Jnana and Vairagya, how do you go back home, back to Godhead? So the answer is just perform bhakti. If you render transcendental, loving, devotional service under the guidance of an Acharya like Prabhupada, then the original Jnana, the Jnana about Krishna, Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam. The second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, first chapter, says, Dharmaha projita kaitavo atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapat Trayon Mulanam. When you know about Krishna, who is the original Vastu, Shivadam, all auspiciousness comes in your life. And Tapat Trayon Mulanam, the miseries which you suffer because of your body and mind, the miseries which you are suffering because of others, the miseries which you are suffering because of natural calamities will go away, cease to exist. So you really become a happy person. Happiness lies in Krishna consciousness. And this Jnana and Vairagya are just byproducts of that. Jnana is knowledge about Krishna, and Vairagya means, I'll quote something from a Prabhupada lecture, 1 second. So Prabhupada says, what is Vairagya? I was searching, so I found it, so I want to share with you. Renunciation, this is from a lecture in New Vrindavan, which is not in India, but outside India, September 5, 1972. Renunciation. Try to understand what is renunciation. Just like we The members of the Krishna conscious society, we have renounced all material activities. That's all. That is renunciation. Our activities are surrounding only around Krishna. We do not do anything except Krishna business. We are publishing magazine, that is for Krishna. We are publishing books, that is for Krishna. We are going to press, that is for Krishna. We are going to market, that is for Krishna. We are cooking, that is for Krishna. We are living, that is for Krishna. We are dancing, that is for Krishna. We are chanting, that is for Krishna. This is renunciation. Basically, whatever you do it for Krishna. That is renunciation. Is it very difficult? Prabhupada has made it so simple. It's not very difficult. You want to be a photographer, no problem. Buy the best DSLR camera and make a name that I will cover all the deities which are there in all the ISKCON temples. It's a lifetime project. And so much you will get benefit out of doing that. So whatever dovetailing, whatever you want to do, yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi, dadasi, yad tapashyasi kaunteya, tad kurushva mataranam, arpanam. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to offer, whatever charity you want to do, whatever austerities you want to perform, do it as an offering to me. That is renunciation. However, the same things are there in material life also. Publishing book, going to market, buying house, dancing, etc. But that is not for Krishna. So that is sense gratification. So this is so nice definition, that's why we should hear Prabhupada lectures so nicely. So that is the summary of this first verse. Janayatya Ashu. One word which I want to highlight is Ashu. Ashu means it happens very quickly. Imagine how many thousands of years these Ashtanga yogis, they have to meditate to generate Vairagya. Vishwamitra, you see, so many thousands of years, and then Bengal came. After Bengal, again so many thousands of years. The point which I am trying to say is, this process of devotional service is so fast, so quick. Because Krishna becomes merciful. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains that the other yoga systems, they are like the steps, and devotional service is like an elevator. If you have to go to the 100th floor, you have steps and the elevator. Which one would you like to take? Let's be honest. Which one would you like to take? Anybody wants to take steps? Believe it or not, there are some mad people who really want to take steps. You tell them that the aim of life is to go back home, back to God, but they will still say, I want to work. Karma hi puja hai. And what karma they are doing, that you should not ask. I am a karma yogi. Only some scandals I have done, but still I am a karma yogi. That is all nonsense going on. So this verse is so much hope giving for all devotees and for everybody. That happiness comes only when you have true knowledge, and happiness comes only when you have detachment. If you don't have detachment, then you will run behind every desire which is passing through the courtyard of your heart. Simply you are sitting here, one desire came. Another moment, another desire came. Then you saw someone, another desire came. Then you saw somebody, another desire came. So if you run behind all the desires, you will simply waste your life. You need to understand that you have to cultivate the highest desire, that to serve Krishna. And that is possible only when you have jnana and vairagya. And that comes easily by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is Janayatya Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahaitukam. The verse says this Jnan is causeless Jnan. Ahaituka Jnan means it is not having a motivation of getting liberation. It is not having a motivation of getting sense gratification. Sometimes we study something. The aim is to do some sense gratification. I am studying this accounts so that I become a chartered accountant, and after that the list is long. So that kind of motivated study leads only to frustration. Otherwise, why there are so many suicides happening in the Big premier institutions, you tell me. They don't come in the newspaper, but they are happening. Somebody tells me that they are happening on a monthly basis now. Same institution, monthly कोई ना कोई suicide कर ले रहा है. So only unmotivated study or only unmotivated knowledge which is due to Krishna consciousness will make you happy. Everything else is only filled with a desire to fill the belly, which only leads to frustration. So to get knowledge and detachment, which is the greatest of the greatest jewels to have, a person who has really some knowledge and some detachment, they will be treated like VVIPs in all the 14 planetary systems, wherever they will go. You don't believe me? Try it out. Try it out. Take a 30-day challenge. Just do two things. Every day sleep on the floor, and after that you give up one sense gratification which you are very fond of. Think in your mind that there is one Indra Tripti or sense gratification which I am doing. I will give that up, and I will just sleep on the floor and have a cold shower every morning, and 4:30 a.m. I will chant Hare Krishna. This simple austerity you do for 1 month, you see how your life will change. In fact, remove Hare Krishna, don't chant also, just do austerity. Have cold shower, because I want to prove this point that austerity attracts higher cosmic powers. You just sleep on the floor, have bath with the cold water early morning, and give up one sense gratification which you regularly do for 1 month. And then you will see how your life is changing, how much cosmic energy you are attracting, and how everybody starts respecting you because of that. Why do you think when Mohandas Karamchand Gandhiji used to walk in the country, everybody used to fall at his feet? Because he was leading a saintly life. Winston Churchill used to call him as the half-naked fakir. So simply by being half-naked, he was controlling the whole country. Austerity. So if you do austerity, you generate some renunciation, vairagya, and that vairagya makes you a hero. But even the greatest of vairagyas like Vishwamitra failed in the purpose of vairagya. Because the purpose of vairagya is to develop anurag for Krishna. Original vairagya means I have anurag for Krishna, I have attachment for Krishna. And because I am attached to Krishna, all the other things which are lower and inferior, I have developed disgust for them. So choice is yours. Either we work hard for thousands of years to consciously develop detachment, or else we work for a very short time and automatically develop detachment by trying to consciously get attached to Krishna. Choice is yours. Stairs or elevators, choice is yours. And it's really blissful, trust me. Life starts with Jnana and Vairagya. Those who are not having Jnana and Vairagya, they are living like animals, trust me. Life begins with Jnana and Vairagya. I'm talking about a kind of happiness which cannot be described in words. It cannot be described in words. So human life is meant for this tapasya. But that tapasya becomes very simple and as a byproduct when we do bhakti. So that is the first verse which we discussed today. The next verse is 1.2.8. Any questions or comments on this verse? Before we go to the next verse. Yeah, I'll present now. Okay, so the next verse, 1.2.8. Dharmaha swanusthitah pumsam vishwakshena kathasu yah not padayed yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. This verse is the story of our life. See the translation. The occupational activities a man performs according to his position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. I'm not showing the purports because there are long purports. So I have just abstracted some sections of the purports, and I'm just reading that to you. Everybody is doing different work. Somebody is a teacher, somebody is a gardener, somebody is a social media influencer, somebody is a sportsman, somebody is a housemaker, somebody is a mountaineer, whatever. Whatever you do, if you are a lawyer, your law, if it ultimately doesn't lead to Krishna consciousness, then you have simply wasted your time. I like to give this demonstration very nicely. Prabhuji, can you get up? Please, everybody look at Sanjeev Prabhu. Very nice devotee. Please start pushing this wall. Try करिए ना, थोड़ा demonstration देना है. Everybody please look at him. अभी देखिए, push ही नहीं करी. He has given up. Why you are not pushing the wall?
No point.
There's no point. What happens if you push for the next 2 hours?
Same result.
Same result. 4 hours? बोल रहे कि गिर. Assume it is made by that what cement? That best cement, Ambuja cement or whatever. Please sit down. So he tried doing something, but the end result was nothing. You become a PhD in your life, you become a billionaire in your life. What happens if you die? End result is what? Nil. He tried pushing the wall for 2 hours and he didn't get any result in the end. You tried pushing something for 80 years in the name of name, fame, money, and ultimately when you died you got nothing. So who is a bigger loser? We are the bigger losers. So therefore Srimad Bhagavatam says that whatever you do, if it doesn't lead to Krishna consciousness, it's a simple, sheer waste of time. I'm explaining in simple words. Suppose, how much time do you spend chanting every day? This is just for demonstration. Don't take anything personally. 20 minutes. Okay. 20 minutes is time she spends. Okay. In 1 month or in 1 month, in 1 week, how much time will you spend? Approximately, ups and downs, average लेके 2 hours ले लें. 1 week, 1 month में कितना होगा? हाँ? Correct. Average लेके बताइए. In 1 month, how much time do you spend chanting? Would you spend chanting? This is just a demonstration. Nobody should look at her. अच्छा, सिर्फ हम तो इतने महान हैं. ये तो इतनी गिरी हुई है. ऐसा या ये इतनी बड़ी है. हम तो करते ही नहीं है. No comparisons. This is just 10 hours a month. A year, how many hours? नहीं ठीक है. Others help her. If she spends 10 hours a month, 120 hours. Okay, take out your calculator. If she lives for 80 years,
9,600.
okay, divided by the total number of hours in 180 years, how much is the percentage? Or divide 9,000, what you said, 600, divided by 24. 400 days, 1 year. On her deathbed, it will be said she lived for 80 years. But factually speaking, she lived only for 1 year. Because the other 79 years which she did was like pushing the wall. Now is it clear? So we should understand, would you like to die 1 year old, Mataji? 1 साल में मरना है कि 50 साल में मरना है कि 10, एटलीस्ट 20 साल में तो मरना है ना. Yeah. My question was, you lived for 80 years, but the net time you spent in bhakti was 1 year. So 1 year is only counted. Other 79 years is like pushing the wall. So my question is, your actual age when you died was 1 year. So would you like to die at 1 year old or 10 years old or 20 years old? What is your aspiration? This is the way we should think. And this is the way the verse is telling. The verse says, the occupational activities a man performs according to his position. That means according to Varna and Ashrama. Some people say Varna and Ashrama is the goal of human life. Understand what is your Varna. That is, what is your nature, what samskaras you are carrying from previous life. How will you understand? By the guidance of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And then according to your Varna, you place yourself in a particular ashram. Brahmachari, Grihast, Vanaprastha or Sannyas. And according to the rules of Varna and ashram, you lead a pious life, and that is success. But this verse of Bhagavatam is telling Varna ashram is not sufficient. If you lead a life according to Varnashram system and working according to your Varnashram position, but if you do not generate attraction towards Krishna, or if your Varna and Ashram, if your work, if your law, if your engineering, if your medicine, if your chartered accountancy, or if your presentation making, whatever you do, if it doesn't lead to love of God, then it is a waste of time. You have a question? You are raising your hand? Oh, achha. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedeshcha sarvair ahameva vedyam vedanta krit vedavid evachaham. Everything which we do is a part of the Vedic culture or Vedic literature. And the aim of all law, all medicine, all engineering, all chartered accountancy, all mountaineering is to know Krishna. So if our Varnashram duties have not led us to Krishna, we are like pushing the wall, which Sanjeev Goel Prabhu was doing. Always remember, when you die, you should not count the number of ages you lived. You should count the amount of time you spent in bhakti. So let's have a target. Srila Prabhupada was telling to to a group of disciples that all of you are now 20, 25 years old. You have another 50 years ahead of you. If you engage 24/7 in Krishna consciousness, then 50 years is enough to attain Krishna in one life. Will we give 50 years to Krishna? 50 years means 50 years of Krishna consciousness. Will we give? तो भगवत प्राप्ति कैसे होगी? होगा ही नहीं. It's just a dream. We have to do 24/7 Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it's very difficult. We will die at 90, but our net effective age will be 2 years or 3 years. Then how will you attain the lotus feet of God? So in the purport, please listen, Srila Prabhupada says, this is 1.2.8. The need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. Such touching words. We all have that desire. We want to be free. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. He wants to see God. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets complete spirit, Krishna. There is a dormant affection of God within everyone. Spiritual existence is manifested through the gross body and mind in the form of perverted affection for gross and subtle matter. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in some occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness. So this purport tells why Varnashram is there. We are fallen conditioned souls. We do not have the capacity like Haridas Thakur to do Navavidha Bhakti for 24 hours a day. So therefore there is Varnashram. That the times of the day when I am not doing Bhakti, at least I should not do something sinful. At least I should do something which will help me next day in my japa. Next day in my reading of Prabhupada books. Next day in my Shravanam. So, that's what Prabhupada is saying. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness. So, our job, our work should be such that it should evoke Brahma Jigyasa in us. Therefore, we should not engage in sinful job occupations. It should not be sinful work. At least. work in itself is meant to evoke divine consciousness. If that is not invoking, whether pious or impious, it's a waste of time. Imagine if it is not invoking divine consciousness, at the same time it is impious also. It's like a waste of time plus Atmaha, one killer of the soul opportunity we are taking. So how is this possible? This is possible only by hearing and chanting of the divine activities of the Supreme Lord. And any occupational activity which does not help, please listen, any activity which does not help one to achieve attachment for hearing and chanting the transcendental message of Krishna is said to be simply a waste of time. So we have to think whatever we are doing throughout the day, if it is not helping us to develop rati towards Krishna, Naam, Roop, Guna, Leela of Krishna, whatever justification we will give. I am a family man, I have so much things to do, I have to take care, I have to cook, I have to sing, I have to dance, whatever justification you give. But if it is not leading you to attachment in Krishna consciousness, we live in a society of pigs, all the pigs will glorify us. But when we will stand in front of Yamaraj, no, it will be not helping us. We cannot say that, this pig liked me, that pig gave me a certificate, this pig gave me a Nobel Prize, this pig society gave me a Nobel Prize. Yamaraj will say, you are a pig, you please go to the hell, which is fit enough for pigs. That it will be a waste of time. Shrama eva hi kevalam. So therefore we should not waste our time and we should be very, very cognizant what we are doing, why we are doing. Another lecture, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.8, December 26, 1972 in Bombay. Srila Prabhupada is boldly telling, please listen. You can discharge your duty very, very nicely, but you have to see whether you are developing attachment for Krishna or not. Attachment means love. You have to see whether you are trying to satisfy Krishna or not. This is the test. If that is not done, simply formulas, if you execute some formula without targeting any satisfaction of Krishna, then it is simply laboring and waste of time. Vishwaksena katha suyah notpadayed ratim yadi shrama eva hi kevalam. So this is what is being explained to all of us in this verse. Now, I'll quickly go to the next verse. I hope you are able to follow. What did we discuss in the first verse? Jnana and Vairagya come automatically by doing bhakti, and without Jnana and Vairagya, life is useless. Second verse, what we understood? Whatever occupational duty we are doing, we should see that it should lead to Krishna consciousness, love towards Krishna. While doing that occupational duty, we should think that whether I am doing it to satisfy Krishna or whether I am doing it to satisfy myself or my extended self. If that is not the case, then we may work for 50,000 years, but it is a sheer waste of time. Just like all the Panchvarsha Yojanas. It is not directed to satisfy Krishna. All the political manifestos by all the leaders which are coming for these general elections, tell me one manifesto which is meant for satisfaction of Krishna. So it is a waste of time. Because every leader is trying to give some sense gratification. You elect me, I will give you this sense gratification. You elect me, I will give you this sense gratification. That leader is a thief. He did not give you proper sense gratification. I will give you. No. That leader is a thief. He doesn't know what is sense gratification. I know real sense gratification. I will give you. That is going on. And whatever you do in the name of economic development or it's ultimately a waste of time. Because it is not meant for satisfaction of Krishna. Next verse number 1.2.9. Is the pace good enough or should I move faster? Because I feel understanding is more important. Correct, no? 1.2.9. what is happening. I want to present it. Yeah. Dharmasya आपवर्गस्य नार्थो अर्थायोपकल्पते नार्थस्य धर्मैकान्तस्य कामो लाभाय हि स्मृतः. Extension. All occupational engagements are ultimately or certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. In this, basically, I have to see my notes. 1 second. Anyways, you don't need to see my notes because I may not be able to cover everything. So, in this purport, very nicely Srila Prabhupada is telling, the general tendency of any ordinary man in any part of the world is to gain some material profit for religious or any other occupational service. This is very clear. Whatever we do in life, we always ask this question, what is in it for me? If I tell you that you have to do something, but there is nothing in it for you, you will not be interested to do only. So the religiosity or the varnashram which we generally talk about is also often materially motivated. Even in the Vedic literatures, for all sorts of religious performances, an allurement of material gain is offered, and most people are attracted by such allurements or blessings of religiosity. Go and ask people why they are doing Ekadashi. Truth will come out. They are reading the Ekadashi Mahatmya. Now after doing Ekadashi, this happens, that happens. I have done so many sins in the last 10 days. So this Ekadashi says, if you do this Ekadashi, all the sins are, I'll be a clean slate. And then until next Ekadashi, I can do some more sins. This kind of consciousness is there. Many people come to temple, that is also for some gain only they come. Some transcendental gain, you may say. So, allurement of blessings of religiosity. Why in the Vedic literature there are so many people who have done so much tapasya? How many of them did tapasya, including Dhruv Maharaj, with a desire to please Krishna? 99% people, they did not have a desire to please Krishna. They wanted dharma, artha, kama. Or maybe some impersonalists wanted moksha also. So the center was not Krishna, the center was their own self. So Prabhupada is saying, why are such so-called men of religion allured by material gain? Question mark. Because material gain can enable one to fulfill the desires, which in turn satisfy sense gratification. The cycle of occupational engagements, varnashram dharma, includes so-called religiosity followed by material gain, followed by fulfillment of desires. Sense gratification is the general way for all sorts of fully occupied pious men. But the statement, as per the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam, is this. What is the statement? The statement is 1.2.9. That it should not be performed for getting any material gain. You should do it only for the pleasure of Krishna. The Srimad Bhagavatam explains you that if you are not a lover of Krishna, then whatever you do, it is meant for sense gratification. And sense gratification is the root cause of enviousness. It is told in the 10th canto by Prabhupada, chapter 13th, shloka number 60. That how envious, the more sense gratification you do, the more envious you will become of others and other living, and not just of human beings, but of other living entities also. So therefore, varnashram dharma or dharma in general should not be for sense gratification. It should be meant for worshipping Krishna and serving Krishna only. If you see, if you go in Vrindavan, where Krishna is residing, everybody, whether it is a cat or a dog or a parrot or a river or a tree or a gopa or a gopi or a cow or a calf or a tiger or a deer, everybody wants to serve Krishna. Nobody is targeting their own sense gratification. Everybody is targeting the gratification of Krishna. So therefore it's such a happy place. There is no enviousness there. I often quote this. In the Krishna book there is a painting, even in the Bhagavatam, where Brahma with his 4 heads and 8 eyes is crying, and 8 streams of tears are coming out. The artist has made also 8 streams, and he's praying to Krishna, and Krishna is standing with some curd rice and pickle in his hand, holding a tree with some buffalo horn and a stick, listening to his prayers. And in the background, Brahma is praying to Krishna. In the background in Vrindavan, the artist has made one deer and one tiger sitting together. Where have you seen deer and tiger sitting together? Now I will take you to the Jharikhanda pastime of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is passing through the central. At that time, the geography of India was different 500 years ago. So in the central part of India was a huge forest which was called as the Jharikhanda forest. It was afternoon time. Lord Chaitanya was traveling with Balbhadra Bhattacharya, his servant at that time. He was continuously chanting the holy names of the Lord. And he entered a deep forest, leaving the main path. There was a water body nearby. He got inside the water body, and then he started chanting the Sandhya Vandanam prayers. And as he was chanting, a group of 10 or 12 elephants came on the other side to drink water. And when Mahaprabhu is finishing his Sandhya Vandanam, and when he opens his eyes, he sees the elephant standing in front of him. What will happen to you if you are there in a place and you are just sleeping or doing some Sandhya Vandanam? If you open your eyes, 12 wild elephants are standing in front of you. What you will do? You will run away. But Mahaprabhu is Mahaprabhu. He didn't run away. He takes the water, the splash of water in his hands, and he splashes on those elephants and tells them, chant Hare Krishna. And guess what? Those elephants, they started chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And Balbhadra Bhattacharya is saying, what is this? Looks like these are some relatives of Gajendra who have come here. Ho sakta hai. And then Mahaprabhu is coming out of the water, and then as he is coming back, there is a tiger sleeping in the way. And Balbhadra Bhattacharya is telling Mahaprabhu, please, let's not go through that way, go through this way. Mahaprabhu is simply chanting, and then he sees the tiger, and then he kicks the tiger. The tiger wakes up in full anger, growling and showing teeth. And Mahaprabhu slaps the tiger, and he says, chant Hare Krishna. And the tiger stands up on 2 legs and starts chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And then Mahaprabhu creates history after that. He meets every animal, almost all the animals of the forest, whether it's a deer or whether it is an anaconda or whether it is, why I'm saying anaconda, because if you go to that Kuju, the place presently in Jharkhand, the locals will explain you that the place where Mahaprabhu did this Sankirtan, there are footprints of rhinoceros, footprints of elephant, footprints of a veena, that means Narad Muni had also come there. Footprint of a very, very big snake, meters long. So people were saying very big snakes had also come. Tigers, lions, bears, deers, hyenas, all sorts of animals were there. Laws of nature tell you, your common sense tell you that they cannot coexist. But Mahaprabhu did Sankirtan there. And in Sankirtan, who is in the center? Krishna. Wherever Krishna comes in the center, even the deers and wolves start kissing and embracing each other. So that is the point which I am trying to say. Right now in the forest, if you go, sense gratification prevails in the forest also. So therefore the lion is killing the deer is eating the grass or whatever. But when you bring Krishna consciousness, even amongst animals, when you remove the sense gratification and you bring Krishna consciousness, the love of God can be displayed even amongst animals who do not have intelligence. So the point which I am trying to say here is, do not become a religious person just for some sense gratification. I am doing this vrata, I am doing this tapasya, I am doing this yajna, I have purchased a new house, I want to do this griha pravesh so that everything is auspicious in this house. Why? So that less power cuts will happen, so that nice AC will work, so that nicely I will sleep. One person was telling me, Prabhuji, I purchased this new house, but I am not able to sleep only in that house. There are so many problems. Sometimes rats is there, sometimes sound is there, sometimes the neighbor puts on loud volume, sometimes mosquitoes come. I think I wasted 95 lakh rupees just by buying that house. What is the point of buying a crore house when you cannot sleep only? So why does one buy a house? Tell me. To sleep. But tell me, if you sleep on a mat here in the temple hall or if you sleep in the 108th floor of Burj Khalifa, what is the difference after sleeping? There is no difference. So don't try to become a pious person, work hard, study hard just to do sense gratification. Bring Krishna in the center. We have to learn from this Mahaprabhu's pastime. Of course, we cannot please don't go to a tiger and slap it and chant Hare Krishna. That will be the last slap of your life. But Prabhupada comments in Chaitanya Charitamrita in this Leela, he says that we cannot make animals sing and dance Hare Krishna, but we can make human beings who are living like animals chant and dance Hare Krishna. So the essence of this verse which we are discussing is, either you will dance under the influence of Maya, or you have to dance for the pleasure of Krishna. Either you will cry with blood tears under the influence of Maya, or you have to cry for Krishna. Dancing, crying is non-optional. Choose why you want to dance and why you want to cry. That is the essence of this verse in simple words. Now, if you go to the next verse, I'm just skipping through. We have one more verse to go. But this verse is very, very beautiful because I found the purport of this verse so nice. I wanted that everybody should really, this is Prabhupada at his poetic best. Kamasya nendriya pritir labho jivetva yavata jivasya tatma jignasa nartho yascheha karmabhihi. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. That was the conclusion of the previous verse also. So what should I do if I will not do, till now sense gratification was the aim of my life. If I will not do Indra Tripti, how will I handle the vega, the urges of my senses? What should I desire then? One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else, when we say nothing else, we are talking about sense gratification. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works. Whatever work you do, it should not be the goal. Now, purport is very nice. I would like to read this purport to you. If possible, I request all of you to pay maximum possible attention in this purport. This is one of the beautiful things which I have read today. Please listen. The completely bewildered material civilization is wrongly directed towards fulfillment of desires and sense gratification. We have a sabhyata, we have a civilization which is completely bewildered, loss of intelligence. Why? Because the aim of our life is sense gratification. This is what is being taught in schools, colleges and offices. In such a civilization, in all spheres of life, the ultimate end is sense gratification. In politics, social service, altruism, philanthropy, and ultimately in religion, और इवन इन सैल्वेशन, धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष, सब में इंद्र तृप्ति चाहिए. The very same tint of sense gratification is ever increasingly predominant. Now, I was quoting this point only. In the political field, leaders of men fight with one another to fulfill their personal sense gratification. The voters adore the so-called leaders only when they promise sense gratification. Imagine if a person comes and says, "You please vote me. If you elect me as a leader, in every street I'll put a loudspeaker which will constantly be chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you give vote to me, I will ensure that in all the schools there is a voluntary subject which will help a person understand their religion-specific literature, or which will promote God consciousness. And if you vote me, I will propagate on a big scale the vibration of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I will propagate on a big scale the distribution of sanctified food called prasad. And if you vote for me, I will make sure that the teachings of God consciousness is spread everywhere. Please vote for me." How many of you will, how many votes do you think I'll get? Let's say there are two pratyashis, two candidates, and there are,
Followers of ISKCON.
of course, the followers of ISKCON will give.
We will not even vote for him. So I am not even talking. I think less than followers of ISKCON.
Less than followers. Okay, suppose there are 2 lakh people in my constituency. By how many votes do you think I'll win or lose? 100?
That's also good.
I think I will get some 100 votes. And the other person will get 1,99,900 votes. Because I didn't offer any sense gratification. I offered ultimate, eternal, blissful life. People don't want that. People don't want that. People want sense gratification. So, the leaders must always disappoint, no matter what, who is promising. As soon as the voters are dissatisfied in their sense gratification, they dethrone the leaders. The leaders must always disappoint. आप कुछ भी कर लो, you cannot satisfy anybody's senses. Proof is, till now you have not been able to satisfy your own senses. Till now we have not been able to satisfy our own sense gratificatory desires. What to speak of satisfying other desires? Especially those who live in joint family or bigger families, you will be able to, or even nuclear families, you can understand. Any kind of family, get together of people, it's so difficult to satisfy everybody if they have sense gratification desires. The same is applicable in all other fields. No one is serious about the problems of life. Even those who are on the path of salvation desire to become one with the absolute truth, and the desire to commit spiritual suicide for sense gratification is there. Now, but the Bhagavatam says that one should not live for sense gratification. One should satisfy senses only in so much. So sense gratification is needed, Baba. No, don't think that I am saying that, okay, completely starve your senses, become Durvasa Rishi. Durvasa Rishi, you know how he got his name, Durvasa? There is a grass called Durva grass. And once in a month, or once whenever he used to feel hungry and thirsty, he used to make juice out of that Durva grass, and only that he used to drink. And this he did for thousands yugas together. That's why his name came Durvasa. So I am not asking you to become Durvasa. We are asking you, you eat nicely, sleep nicely, take rest nicely, whatever is needed you do. That's what Prabhupada is telling. One should satisfy the senses only in so much as required for self-preservation and not for sense gratification. How many of us we live to eat? Please raise your hands. Don't be shy. Okay, I'm asking the wrong question. How many of you eat to only live? It's only just to survive I'm eating. There's no question of taste and slurpy things in my life. Whatever, I know one devotee like that. least attached to eating. Yesterday I was staying in a base, so they made some kind of fried rice and some kind of Manchurian. So I asked him, "What did you eat, Baba?" He said, "Rice and sabzi I ate and came." I said, "Rice and sabzi." But when I sat down, I saw it is fried rice and Manchurian. Then I realized this devotee is so detached. No matter what is served to him, he doesn't care. He did not even realize that he ate gobi Manchurian and fried rice. For him, it's just sabzi and rice. So he really eats to live, not eats to live, lives to eat. But my condition is a little separate. I will ask Manchurian hai, ye hai, wo hai, and I will take note of all the items and then. So one should satisfy the senses only in so much as required for self-preservation and not for sense gratification. Because why? The body is made of senses, which also requires certain amount of satisfaction. And there are regulative directions for satisfaction of such senses. But the senses are not meant for unrestricted enjoyment. This line should be printed and should be circulated in all the schools, universities, colleges and corporates. This work hard, party harder concept is taking everybody to hell. Senses are not meant for unrestricted enjoyment. For example, marriage or the combination of a man and a woman is necessary for progeny, means childbirth. But it is not meant for sense enjoyment. In the absence of voluntary restraint, when somebody knows the purpose of life, life is simple. But when they don't know, then this propaganda of family planning, contraception comes in. So Prabhupada is very disgusted. He's telling, in the absence of voluntary restraint, there is propaganda of family planning. But foolish men do not know that family planning is automatically executed as soon as there is search after the absolute truth. Now, since when in India family planning has been introduced, you tell me? And what is the result of that family planning? Has the population been controlled? Control हुआ क्या? It blasted like जितना family planning किया उतना population बढ़ गया. Pre-independence there was no family planning. The so-called independence of India, there was no family planning. And you see the population of India in the last 2000 years. And you see the population of India since the time family planning has been introduced. That means this is Kali Yuga's master stroke. Use this artificial method and go on doing sense gratification. And that has led to degradation of Sanatan Dharma, of culture so much. And because of this one single thing, the search for truth has been lost. Recently I went to my parents' place and I was talking to my grandfather, and my grandfather was telling that in his village, 70 years ago in his village where there was no railway station, people used to walk and go. Every day in the morning, in one of the Ram temples, many people would come and they would bring japmalas in their hand. Some of them used to stand on one leg and for hours together they used to chant the holy names of God. That was the culture of India, where the aim of life was fixed that I have to attain God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. But you see what is the situation now. There is no search after the absolute truth. The absolute truth now is Netflix. Manasa deho geho je kichu more. Once I come home, my dear Netflix, I surrender to you. Whatever you serve me, maro bhi rakho bhi jo iksha tumhar. Whatever movie you serve, whatever serial you show, I will surrender to it as the divine plan, and I will see it till 3 a.m. in the morning. And after that I will go to sleep. Then I will wake up at 10 a.m., have bath, eat some bread, go to office, then again come back at 11 p.m. in the night. Again surrender to Netflix. This is the purpose of life. I'm telling you the lifestyle which I used to live at one point of time. I was talking from self-experience. So seekers, until unless we become seekers of absolute truth, we will be utterly disgusted, frustrated, and probably thinking about committing suicide. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada is saying, this purport is touching my heart as and when I read it. Seekers of the absolute truth are never allured by unnecessary engagements in sense gratification, because the serious students seeking the absolute truth are always overwhelmed with the work of researching the truth. So those who are into Krishna consciousness and those who want to become Krishna conscious, you offer them unlimited sense gratification, they will not take it, Baba. That is the meaning of Jnana and Vairagya. And such a person is a real happy person. Imagine you are in such a state of condition or such a state of existence where all the wealth of the world is offered to you, but you are not interested because you are seeing something higher. That is Krishna consciousness, and this verse of Bhagavatam is encouraging us to do that. In every sphere of life, therefore, the ultimate end must be seeking after the absolute truth, and that sort of engagement will make one happy. Why? Because he will be less engaged in varieties of sense gratification. So take it that sense gratification is the root cause of enviousness, and the root cause of enviousness is the root cause of conditioned life. If we can just give up our sense gratification, then life will be very happy, very simple, free of lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness and attachments. How many of you would like to know how life will be if sense gratification has ended? Please raise your hands. Do you want to really see? Are you sure? Sure nahi hai. I'll show you. That is shown in this verse 10.13.60. You see, how is life without sense gratification? The word vana means forest. We are afraid of the forest and do not wish to go there, but in Vrindavan, the forest animals are as good as demigods, for they have no envy. Even in this material world, in the forest, the animals live together. And when they go to drink water, they do not attack anyone. Envy develops because of sense gratification. But in Vrindavan, there is no sense gratification, for the only aim is Krishna's satisfaction. Even in this material world, the animals in Vrindavan are not envious of the sadhus who live there. The sadhus keep cows and supply milk to the tigers, saying, "Come here, take little milk." Thus, envy and malice are unknown in Vrindavan. That is the difference between Vrindavan and ordinary world. We are horrified to hear the name of Vana, the forest, but in Vrindavan, there is no such horror. Everyone is happy by pleasing Krishna. This is the goal. If you want to be happy, try to please Krishna. Krishnot kirtana gana nartana paro. Whether a Goswami or a tiger or other ferocious animal, everyone's business is same, to please Krishna. Even the tigers are also devotees. This is the specific qualification of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, everyone is happy. The calf is happy, the cat is happy, the dog is happy, the man is happy, everyone. Why? Because everyone wants to serve Krishna in a different capacity, and thus there is no envy. One may sometimes think that the monkeys in Vrindavan are envious. Hota hai na? When you go out, they take your specs, they take your japmala. You are going to Loi Bazaar, because that is why you went to Vrindavan. And then in Loi Bazaar, you purchased some dhoti and some kurta from Gangaram Emporium shop and all those things. And the monkeys, you're coming out, monkeys are taking it away. So one may think that monkeys in Vrindavan are envious because they cause mischief and steal food. But in Vrindavan, we find that the monkeys are allowed to take butter which Krishna himself distributes. How many of you remember that picture where Krishna, just close your eyes and try to imagine that Krishna is drinking the breast milk of Mother Yashoda, 4 a.m. in the morning, and Mother Yashoda is churning the milk to make butter because she is fed up with the complaints which others are giving that Krishna is going to the other houses and stealing. So she's thinking, probably I am not making the butter with love and others are making butter with love for Krishna. So Krishna, being Bhavagray Janardhan, is going to other houses to eat that butter. If I will make butter with love, then Krishna will stop stealing. So Krishna comes, he stops the butter churning and starts drinking the breast milk of Mother Yashoda. But Mother Yashoda, understanding that there is milk boiling in the kitchen, keeps Krishna down and goes to save the milk. Because in Vrindavan, everything is the property of Krishna. Krishna becomes angry and he breaks the butter pot. And then, out of fear of his mother, he walks into the nearby storeroom where butter which was made yesterday is stored. There is a okhal, or there is a wooden grinding mortar on which he sits in a swastik asana. And then he invites all the monkeys. And he makes all the monkeys to stand in a queue, and then he's taking the butter out and he's giving to the monkeys, and when one monkey gets it, he asks them to move aside and the next monkey is coming. And in this way he is distributing it to the monkeys. And then from behind, Mother Yashoda is coming with a stick to teach Krishna a lesson. And as he is distributing the butter to the monkey, in the eyes of one of the monkeys, he sees the reflection of Mother Yashoda coming. So he throws the butter pot, jumps from the wooden grinding mortar, runs out, and after that, that is the Damodar Leela. So Krishna himself is feeding monkeys butter. But are we really feeding monkeys butter? And that is why they are stealing. You go to Govardhan, people do Govardhan Parikrama, and every Govardhan Parikrama person gives so many things to the monkeys. So in Govardhan Parikrama, the monkeys will not harass you. But in Vrindavan, people have become, they are going to Loi Bazaar, they are buying so many things, they are not giving to monkeys. So monkeys are telling that, we have to coexist, man. Anyways, coming back to the purport. But in Vrindavan, we find that monkeys are allowed to take butter which Krishna himself distributes. Krishna personally demonstrates that everyone has the right to live. This is Vrindavan life. Why should I live and you die? No, that is material life. The inhabitants of Vrindavan think, this is the secret to happiness. Whatever is given by Krishna, let us divide as prasad and eat. This mentality, now this is something which I want you to really focus. This mentality cannot appear all of a sudden, but it will gradually develop with Krishna consciousness by sadhana. One can come to this platform. Point to be noted, you want to be non-envious. If you do sincere, determined, relentless sadhana, then you will become non-envious. Are you happy? This is the life which is free of sense gratification. And we are all sitting here hoping that one day we will receive this life. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So we will end today's discussion by just explaining what is the supreme absolute truth. Vadanti tatta tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam avyayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdayate. The learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance as Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagwan. I think this has been very sufficiently explained in Gita courses also. But just to... So you see, today's discussion was, if you do bhakti, you'll get Gyan and Vairagya very automatically. Life without Gyan and Vairagya is useless. But real Gyan means Nam, Roop, Gun, Leela of Krishna, and real Vairagya means Anurag to Krishna. That comes by bhakti. Whatever activities you do, you should target that it should lead to love of Krishna, attraction towards Krishna. Third verse we read, sense gratification is a waste of time. That this is something which we have covered till now. Now, final, we are discussing what is that absolute truth. Who is Krishna? And in how many ways can he be understood? That is being discussed here. So, I will just explain this with in the purport Srila Prabhupada writes, less intelligent students, they think that Krishna is compartmentalized, Worshippers of sun. There are various kinds of people in this planet who worship the sun. Some of them, they worship the sunlight. When the light of the sun enters their room, I've seen this in Bodh Gaya, especially the Buddhists, they do this. When the sunlight enters their room, they offer obeisances to the sunlight. There are some people who worship the sun globe. Again, in this region of Bihar, there is a puja called as Chhat Puja. So there are many devotees who will be worshipping the sun, fasting, following various rules and regulations, and it's a big affair. Those who are there coming from that part of the country, you'll know it's a very, very big affair. When these devotees who are observing this vrata, when they walk on the street, people, they bring loads of mud and they put mud on the street so that people find it. All the ration stores, grocery store people, they will be standing with lassi and lemon juice, and some people will be selling towels, and big rich people, they will be standing with hands like this, give us some prasad. Is it not like that? So they worship the sun. And there is another class of worshippers who understand that the sun whom I am worshipping, this light, this, is coming from a personality, a demigod whose name is Vivaswan, mentioned in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 1 and 2. Imam Vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam. I told this knowledge first to Vivaswan. Vivaswan gave it to Manu. Manu gave it to Ikshvaku, etc., etc. So Vivaswan is a demigod who gets his powers from Krishna. So amongst all these three kinds of worshippers, worshippers of the sunlight, worshippers of the sun globe, and worshippers of the personality or the deity of the sun planet, who is wrong? None of them are wrong. Who is having the most accurate information, or rather the highest amount of information about the existence of the sun? The sunlight, the sun globe, or the personality of sun? Which class of worshippers are most advanced, you can say? Those who are worshipping, because they know the root cause. If you have understood this, then I will give you another example. There is a mountain. When you see the mountain from a far distance, how does it appear? It appears like a green-blue sheet. Something is there, some sheet is there. If you go 100 kilometers closer to the mountain, how does it look? You see trees. What else you see? You see dog. Dog. Mataji sees dog. Okay. Rocks. Okay. You see mountains, valleys. Okay. Very good. Anything else you see? Huh?
Flowers.
Flowers. Hey, don't say botanical names here. I don't know. Yes. So you'll see flowers, valleys, mountains, rocks. Maybe you'll see some rivers. So when you were seeing from a far distance, it was appearing like a green and blue sheet. But when you came 100 kilometers closer, you saw a bigger picture of the truth. You saw rivers, you saw valleys, you saw trees. Earlier this was river and trees was not visible. But that didn't mean it didn't exist. Now let's say you go further, you go in the foothills of the mountains. There what you'll see?
We actually see civilization and we see a trail.
We see a train. You see a trail. You see men, women, animals. You see that they speak a language. You see that they laugh, they cry. Correct, no? So there are three versions of reality of a mountain. Number one, a green blue sheet. Number 2, a place full of rocks, trees, valleys, mountains and rivers. And number 3, it concludes all of that which we mentioned before, but apart from that, it is full of people who have life, who have a language, who have some happiness, who have some emotions, who have some sentiments, who have some feelings, who have some likes and who have some dislikes, and who maintain this mountain. So which information about this mountain is wrong? None. But which is the most accurate? The closest. So similarly, I am just explaining in this way. The verse, what does the verse say? The verse says, learned transcendentalists, those who have understood that I am not the body but the spirit soul, they are called learned transcendentalists, for whom the search for absolute truth is the highest purpose of life. They are called transcendentalists. So learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth, they call this non-dual substance by 3 names: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. None of it is wrong. But the person who has the Bhagwan realization is closest to the truth, and the person who has Brahman realization is, amongst all the 3, is farthest from the truth. Which of them is wrong? No one. So Brahman means, where you understand Krishna is Brahma Jyoti, is some light in which I have to merge. This understanding is also not wrong, but it is not the highest understanding. Higher than Brahman realization is Paramatma realization. Brahman means the all existing feature of the Lord. Sarvam khalva idam Brahma. Everything is Brahman, because everything is an energy of the Lord. Higher than Brahman realization is to understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the absolute controller, Paramatma. I am a yogi sitting in a forest surrounded by anacondas, tigers, but the same Paramatma in the heart of this anaconda and tiger is sitting in my heart also. Unless and until the same Paramatma who is in the heart of tiger and in my heart gives permission and sanction to the tiger to eat me, the tiger cannot eat me. And I know in the core of my heart that I am also a living entity and the tiger is also a living entity. We are both spirit souls dear to Krishna. Anybody who has this realization called Paramatma realization can easily coexist in the deepest of the forests, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. All the Himalayan yogis, they have this Paramatma realization. Paramatma realization has a form. Dhyana avasthita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. They see the 400 Chaturbhuj Vishnu form in the core of their heart. But what is missing in Paramatma form? Seva. They are just sitting like this and looking at the beautiful form of Vishnu. But higher than the Paramatma realized people are the bhaktas or the devotees who understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. He has a name. He has some desires. He has some feelings. And the perfection of my life is to serve him. And he is known as Bhagwan, Krishna. So that is the whole substance which is displayed or discussed in this verse. Brahman realized, Paramatma realized, Bhagwan realized. 3 kinds of people are called transcendentalists. None of them are wrong. But the most advanced or closest are the devotees of Krishna, or the devotees who understand that Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. He has a name, form, qualities and pastimes, and my job is to serve him. And the best way to serve him is by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So today we have covered 5 verses. And we have tried to discuss all of this. If anybody has any question or comment, they are welcome. Otherwise, we can end today's discussion.